Word on the street is that the Lakers have confirmed Leonard Kawhi's move, shortly after he was linked to a $28 million fraud scandal that circumvented the NBA's salary cap.
That's the Kawhi Leonard I know. Doing nothing and getting paid for it.
And now, with the FBI and NBA investigating, the question isn't just what this means for Kawhi's career, but whether the Lakers just signed a ticking time bomb. We have all the gist. Let's break it down. The explosive allegations that shook the NBA. The basketball world was turned upside down on September 3rd, 2025, when investigative journalist Pablo Torre dropped what many are calling the biggest NBA scandal since the Joe Smith salary cap violation 25 years ago. The story centers on allegations that Los Angeles Clippers star Kawhi Leonard received a $28 million no-show endorsement deal that may have been designed to circumvent the NBA's salary cap rules. Unlike typical endorsement deals with obligations for appearances, campaigns, or brand activations, the contract specifically allowed Leonard to decline participation in any activity conflicting with his personal beliefs. This clause gave him full legal cover to accept the money without delivering tangible promotion. But this isn't just about one player or one team. This scandal threatens to expose a web of financial maneuvering that could reshape how we understand NBA business operations, and it all started with a bankruptcy filing that revealed a single damning detail. Pablo Torre's investigation began not with basketball, but with corporate fraud. Speaking on Rich Eisen's show, Torre explained how he stumbled upon this explosive story.
And this is where the clues. What David's looking at with his glasses on is a bankruptcy filing, and there's a list of creditors. The entities to which Aspiration and all of their alleged fraudulence still owes the most money. And what I noticed is what David is noticing right now, which is that on that list of creditors, up near the top, above the Boston Red Sox, is an LLC.
The discovery was almost mundane, buried in legal paperwork that most people would never read. But Torre recognized the significance immediately.
A little company that Aspiration owes $7 million. And that LLC's name, David, is what?
KL2 Aspire LLC.
And what does it list there under manager or member name?
Kawhi Leonard.
Whose NBA jersey number, just to connect all of the dots here, happens to be what?
Number 2.
Aspiration was a California-based sustainability fintech company that promoted itself as an eco-friendly alternative to traditional banking, promising to plant trees and offset carbon emissions for its customers. The company had attracted high-profile celebrity endorsers, including Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert Downey Jr., and Drake. But Torre's months-long investigation revealed something far more sinister. Speaking on David Sampson's show, Torre laid out the scope of his research.
So it took 7 months to do this one, and I just want to tamper everyone's expectations. It took 7 months to cross the threshold of publishing.
The thoroughness of Torre's investigation cannot be overstated. He obtained over 3,000 pages of internal Aspiration documents and conducted interviews with 7 former employees. What he found was unprecedented in professional sports.
I got over 3,000 pages of documents, including the contract that was signed and executed, as well as 7 sources who worked at the company.
The contract, signed in April 2022, was structured through Leonard's KL2 Aspire LLC and included several highly unusual provisions. Torre explained the most damning aspects of the deal on Rich Eisen's show.
Another clause stated Leonard would only be paid if he remained a member of the Clippers. Last but not least, payments from Aspire to KL2 Aspire LLC was sent to Dennis Robertson, Leonard's advisor, who was investigated by the NBA in 2019 for asking for impermissible benefits.
The scale of Leonard's deal was unprecedented. Torre revealed the shocking comparison during his Rich Eisen interview.
They had Robert Downey Jr., Leonardo DiCaprio, Drake, Orlando Bloom, Cindy Crawford's daughter, Doc Rivers. Go down the list, a bunch of famous people. Kawhi Leonard's contract was for a sum that was more than 4 times every other one of those contracts I mentioned combined.
But the most damning evidence was what Torre couldn't find. Any proof that Leonard ever did anything to earn his millions.
And in fact, the company itself, Aspiration, nor the Clippers, ever announced that he had signed anything as an endorsement deal.
When Torre appeared on a Los Angeles radio show, he was asked directly about Leonard's promotional activities.
When has he ever endorsed this company? And you look on the internet, I scour, ask all the sources I can, every bit of rock being turned over I do, And there are zero examples of him doing anything. Zero.
The contract itself contained language that essentially guaranteed Leonard could collect his money without doing anything. Torre explained this crucial detail.
And then get the contract. We get the contract that's signed and executed, right? Kawhi's autograph is on it. And there are not only, fishy things, as alluded to, but there's also, per the contract language, no obligation for him to do anything. Because there's an out clause, and we had David Sampson, former president of the Marlins, assess this for us, an out clause in which it is clear that if something is asked of Kawhi that does not confirm or corroborate his personal beliefs, he doesn't have to do anything. And he did nothing. So he was allowed to do nothing. He did nothing. It was a secret deal.
The connection to Clippers owner Steve Ballmer made this story explosive. Torre's investigation revealed that Ballmer had personally invested $50 million in Aspiration in September 2021, just weeks before the company announced a massive $300 million sponsorship deal with the Clippers. Torre laid out the suspicious timeline during his radio appearance.
Yeah, so Steve Ballmer put $50 million, and we have the contract for this, bank statements. We have an unusual level of visibility into the inner workings of this company because of the reporting we've done here. And so Steve Ballmer puts in $50 million. And simultaneously, of course, they go the other way and, they pay the Clippers $300 over 23 years.
Former Aspiration employees who spoke with Torre painted a damning picture. When asked about internal discussions regarding Leonard's deal, Torre revealed,
"We have all of these ways in which 7 sources tell us on the record this is a contract that was told to us for the purposes of circumventing the salary cap. I don't really know what else I can do to provide for, let's just say, the league office. If you care about this stuff, here is everything we found."
The NBA announced its investigation into these allegations on September 3rd, 2025, the same day Torre's report was published. The league's response was swift and serious, as Torre noted.
Yeah, it's an unprecedented scandal when it comes to the cardinal sin of the NBA, and those are Adam Silver's words, the cardinal sin part, which is salary cap circumvention. The NBA, for the record, is investigating.
The investigation carries enormous stakes for everyone involved. Under the NBA's collective bargaining agreement, salary cap circumvention can result in fines up to $7.5 million, forfeiture of multiple draft picks, and even the voiding of player contracts. But as explosive as these initial revelations were, they were just the tip of the iceberg. The story would soon expand to include federal criminal investigations, a pattern of questionable behavior dating back years, and questions about the very integrity of professional basketball's salary cap system, the web of connections and federal investigations. The Aspiration scandal runs much deeper than a simple endorsement deal gone wrong. At its center is a web of corporate fraud, federal criminal activity, and a pattern of behavior that may have been building for years. To understand the full scope of this story, we need to examine not just what happened, but who was involved and how a failed sustainability startup became the vehicle for what investigators allege was a sophisticated scheme to circumvent NBA rules. Joe Sandberg, the co-founder of Aspiration Partners, was not just any entrepreneur. The 46-year-old Harvard graduate had built a public persona as a socially conscious businessman, launching California's Earned Income Tax Credit Outreach Program and donating millions to democratic causes. But beneath this veneer lay something far more sinister. On August 21st, 2025, Sandberg pleaded guilty to 2 counts of wire fraud for defrauding investors and lenders of more than $248 million. The timeline of this fraud directly overlaps with the Leonard endorsement deal, raising questions about where the money actually came from. Pablo Torre addressed this crucial connection during his appearance on David Sampson's show.
Is because the reason that Joe Sandberg has pled guilty now to 2 counts of wire fraud, the reason why the DOJ, the SEC, the CFTC, the FBI have been looking into this giant scandal.
The methods Sandberg used were elaborate and brazen. Torre explained how the fraud worked.
So when they say to me, we asked around and truly, so many people inside the company knew, more than just the 7 is what I was told, but I only have the 7, so I only quote the 7. They say it was communicated to us. The reason why Kawhi Leonard did 0 things.
But Leonard's connection to questionable financial arrangements didn't begin with Aspiration. The current scandal has resurfaced troubling details from Leonard's 2019 free agency that paint a disturbing pattern. When Torre's reporting brought new attention to Leonard's history, details emerged about his demands during his 2019 championship season with Toronto. The reports were stunning in their scope and similarity to the current allegations. According to reporting from the Toronto Star, Leonard's uncle and advisor Dennis Robertson Robertson made extraordinary demands during negotiations with the Toronto Raptors. These demands included a Paul George trade worth multiple first-round picks, $10 million annually in no-show sponsorships, and even an ownership stake in the NHL's Toronto Maple Leafs. The pattern becomes even clearer when examining Leonard's approach to his professional obligations since joining the Clippers. The numbers are staggering and have drawn fierce criticism from NBA commentators. Stephen A. Smith has been particularly vocal about Leonard's performance and availability issues. During a September 2025 radio appearance, Smith unleashed a blistering assessment.
He is the worst superstar I have ever seen in sports. Worst and superstar being the operative words. No denying he's a superstar, but I have never seen a superstar do less to market and promote his team or promote the brand.
Smith didn't stop there. He connected Leonard's lack of promotional activity directly to the current scandal.
That's the Kawhi Leonard I know. Doing nothing and getting paid for it. Now, this is a two-time champ. I want to be very, very clear about what I'm saying.
The statistical reality of Leonard's Clippers tenure supports Smith's criticism. Analysis shows that Leonard has missed 206 of 472 regular season games during his 6-year tenure with the team, a staggering 44% absence rate. Smith broke down these numbers during his radio show.
He's been with the Clippers for 6 years. Missed the whole 21-22 season due to injury. Regular season games missed. He's missed 206 of 472 games. That's 44%. Postseason games missed. He's missed 15 of 50. That's 30%.
But Smith's harshest criticism was reserved for Leonard's approach to promoting the franchise.
Not one iota, not one speck of effort before this past season did I see him lift a finger to support promoting the Clippers franchise. He is a superstar player.
The connection between Leonard's minimal promotional efforts and the aspiration deal becomes even more damning when considering Smith's observations about Leonard's commercial work.
This is a man that did New Balance commercials, and the kids spoke, Molly. The kids. He didn't say a word.
Smith's frustration boiled over as he described Leonard's overall approach.
So when I saw this report and it said money for doing nothing, I said, that's what made me pause. Not because of Steve Ballmer, not because of the Clippers, because of him. Because if there's a way for this brother to get money guaranteed without working, that's what that brother has done.
Meanwhile, Steve Ballmer found himself in damage control mode. His September 5th, 2025 interview with ESPN's Ramona Shelburne was a masterclass in crisis management, but it also raised as many questions as it answered. Ballmer's central defense was that he had been deceived by Aspiration's fraudulent operations.
These were guys who committed fraud. How would I be able? Look, they conned me.
You're one of the richest men in America.
They conned me. I made an investment in these guys thinking it was on the up and up, and they conned me.
But Ballmer's explanation of his relationship with Leonard's endorsement deal seemed carefully parsed.
I eventually learned that they hadn't reached a deal. I have no idea what the deal was.
So, but you see how this looks to the average fan, right? You're invested in the company. It's $50 million as your investment. You're part of the biggest raise that they have.
When pressed about the appearance of impropriety, Ballmer maintained his distance.
And they went off and made a deal. I don't know what the deal is. I know what the reports are with the speculation. I don't know what the deal is or was.
But perhaps most telling was Ballmer's admission about his investment decision-making process.
My staff reviewed primarily fraudulent financials. Now, should I have sniffed it out? Maybe. I feel embarrassed and kind of silly that I didn't sniff it out, but I didn't.
The federal investigation into Aspiration's fraud scheme continues to unfold, with implications that extend far beyond basketball. Sandberg faces up to 40 years in prison, while board member Ibrahim Al-Husseini has already pleaded guilty to wire fraud for his role in falsifying financial documents. But the most significant development may be the NBA's decision to treat this case with unprecedented seriousness. The league has hired Wachtell, Lipton, Rosen, and Katz, the same prestigious law firm that handled investigations into Donald Sterling and Robert Sarver. Torrey addressed the significance of this choice during his media appearances.
And the NBA is, of course, looking into this now in their investigation, which they announced.
Consequences, investigations, and the future of NBA integrity. As the NBA's investigation deepens and more details emerge, the basketball world is grappling with questions that extend far beyond one player or one team. The potential consequences of this case could fundamentally reshape how professional sports monitors financial relationships between owners, players, and third-party entities, while setting precedents that will influence athletics for decades to come. The league's response has been swift and comprehensive. Shams Charania provided crucial details about the NBA's investigative process.
Christine, the NBA told me that their investigation is underway and it will most certainly include interviews with key subjects as part of both the Clippers side, Kawhi Leonard himself, this company, and the league's investigation at the heart of it is going to be searching for concrete proof, a potential paper trail to show whether there was cap circumvention done.
The historical precedent for this type of violation is sobering. Charania explained the stakes by referencing the last major salary cap scandal.
And just for context here, the previous case of cap circumvention in the NBA was about 25 years ago. It involved the Minnesota Timberwolves and Joe Smith in a paper trail of an illegitimate free agent contract. And the NBA sanctioned the Timberwolves 5 first-round draft picks. You see right there, owner Glenn Taylor was suspended. General manager Kevin McHale was suspended. $3.5 million fine as well.
The severity of potential punishments has created a sense of urgency around the investigation. Charania noted the high stakes for all parties involved.
And those are the types of penalties. It's severe if they are found guilty here in this situation, I will say.
But this case presents unique complications that go beyond the straightforward violation that occurred with the Timberwolves. The involvement of federal criminal activity, one of the world's richest individuals, and a complex web of corporate entities makes this investigation unprecedented in its scope. Mark Cuban, himself an NBA owner, provided a different perspective when he engaged with Pablo Torre directly. Cuban's defense of Ballmer was based on his understanding of how wealthy individuals can be deceived. Cuban's argument, as Torre related, centered on the practical reality of high-stakes investing.
Now, notably, I have heard from other people in the management suite and the executive class of the NBA and in sports in general after the story. None of them want to talk about this on Twitter, let alone with me on my show, but they have, I will say, thoughts that largely diverge from Mark Cuban's perspective.
Cuban's perspective raises important questions about the nature of proof in cases involving sophisticated financial structures. As Torre noted during his interview circuit,
when does one of the smartest people, the smartest businessman, the guy hailed as the greatest investor of the last 20 years in Steve Ballmer, right? The richest man in sports. When does he get to be smart? And when does he get to be stupid?
The investigation's complexity is compounded by the ongoing federal criminal proceedings. Torre explained how the two investigations intersect.
Let me just repeat, I don't know how much money they gave him.
Well, in the court documents and in Pablo's podcast, they report it was $28 million.
Pablo's podcast, I don't know anything about the court documents on this.
Meanwhile, public reaction to the scandal has been mixed, with some seeing it as evidence of systemic problems in professional sports. Jeff Teague's reaction on his podcast captured the pragmatic view of many current and former players.
Gotta do what you gotta do, man.
You gotta do what you gotta do, bro. Why not?
That's finessing at its best.
I'm pretty sure other people do that, bro.
But Teague also acknowledged the unprecedented nature of Leonard's situation.
Yeah, he got the best NBA career ever. Nobody's career is better than him.
He is chilling, bro.
Yeah, bro.
The scandal has also reignited discussions about competitive balance in the NBA. Stephen A. Smith connected the Leonard case to broader concerns about the salary cap system.
I'm more wrapped up in a salary cap situation because in other sports with caps, Jerry Jones got himself lost draft picks, got suspended. Carmen Policy with San Francisco, there was always some issues with them.
Smith emphasized the importance of maintaining the integrity of the salary cap system.
$28 million. Ballmer loves the players. He's very pro player. Adam Silver, you gotta look into this.
The potential consequences for Leonard himself remain unclear. NBA executives, speaking anonymously to various outlets, have suggested different perspectives on how this might affect his career. Some have argued that the Lakers dodged a bullet by not signing Leonard in 2019, citing both his injury history and the current scandal. The investigation's timeline remains uncertain, but legal experts suggest it could extend well into 2026. The NBA's thorough approach reflects the seriousness of the allegations and the potential precedent this case could set. Torre addressed the broader implications during his media tour.
If not for that little line item in a bankruptcy filing that no one else noticed, this would not have been a problem. None of this would have happened. No one would be talking about it.
This observation highlights a crucial aspect of the case, the role of luck and investigative journalism in uncovering potential violations. Torre continued.
They would have gotten away with it. And now I'm going to quote Scooby-Doo. if not for those meddling kids.
The scandal has also raised questions about the NBA's monitoring systems and whether similar arrangements might exist elsewhere in the league. Torre has suggested that his investigation might uncover additional instances of comparable financial structures, potentially making the Leonard case part of a broader pattern rather than an isolated incident. For Steve Ballmer, the scandal represents a crisis that his enormous wealth cannot solve. Despite his passionate defense and claims of being deceived, questions remain about his business judgment and potential involvement. The reputational damage could overshadow his generally positive tenure as an NBA owner and his massive investment in the Clippers' new arena. The Clippers organization faces an uncertain future regardless of the investigation's outcome. The team has already traded away multiple future draft picks in pursuit of championships that have not materialized. Additional penalties from the NBA could severely hamper their ability to rebuild. Most importantly, this scandal raises fundamental questions about competitive balance in professional sports. The NBA's salary cap system was designed to prevent wealthy teams from simply buying championships. If teams can circumvent these rules through creative financial arrangements, the entire premise of competitive balance is threatened. As Pablo Torre noted in his analysis of the broader implications,
The question of circumstantial evidence as a concept is like, ooh, here are some suspicious things that happened that suggests that another suspicious thing happened.
the ultimate resolution of this case will likely determine not just the fate of Kawhi Leonard and the Los Angeles Clippers, but the future integrity of professional basketball itself. The NBA's response will set precedents that will influence how leagues monitor financial relationships between owners, players, and third parties for years to come. The question that haunts this entire scandal remains. In a league where competitive balance is supposedly maintained through salary restrictions, what happens when the rules themselves become just another obstacle to be creatively overcome? The answer may determine the future of professional sports as we know it. As this investigation continues, the basketball world watches and waits to see whether the NBA's salary cap system can survive in an era of increasingly sophisticated financial engineering. The precedent set by this case will echo through professional sports for decades to come. Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this.